Hello, this is Chuck Sachs for Indie Opera Podcast, and I've invited director Ethan Hurd and music director Jacob Ashworth from Hearbeat Opera to talk about their upcoming production, The Messy Messiah. Hello, how are you both?
Doing very well. Happy to be here.
I'm so happy to be here and talking with you another time about the work that you do at Hearbeat Opera. Now, let's just get this off the top. To start, when and where is the show being performed, and how do people buy tickets?
I can take that. We are back at a beloved venue, Roulette Intermedium in Brooklyn, and it is just a short walk from Barclays Center by all the trains. We're there December 16th and 17th. We have 3 shows, so an 8 p.m. show on the Thursday, and then a 7 and 9:30 show on the Friday.
What dates?
December 16th and 17th. And you can go to heartbeatopera.org for tickets.
Great. So The Messy Messiah, the title leads me to believe that this is kind of, you're doing a satire on the Messiah. Is that true?
I think the title really inspired us, but I think the drag show for years and years now has not really been able to be confined to any one idea, any one set of parameters. We always are just blowing up and going in different directions. So there's definitely some satirizing of the Messiah, some enjoyment of the Messiah in our way. We always are doing these pieces that we do. Maybe we do them in an interesting way or something that comes from this loving the original. You know, I've done Messiahs.
Yes.
I'm a Baroque violinist. I do a ton of them every year. And what's amazing about it always is that everyone just still loves playing them. So it definitely comes from that, but we're going to have a little fun.
I don't know. My favorite version, the satire, would be Not the Messiah, which is the Monty Python. It is the adaptation of the life of Brian as Not the Messiah.
Right.
And it's deranged, which is how it should be. So what kind of show should the audience expect? And what was the genesis of this extravaganza?
Oh, I love this question. So this is our 7th annual drag extravaganza. For 6 years, we did it around Halloween. And the very first one was a benefit. It was a fundraiser. It was in a little art gallery in Williamsburg called the Cotton Candy Machine. And we did a queer take on Purcell's The Fairy Queen.
I mean, kind of, that's word. I mean, the Fairy Queen, and it's Purcell, really.
Yeah, that one was a no-brainer.
Yes.
So as the drag show developed, gave ourselves more and more permission and had more and more fun to riff on Mozart, in outer space, and to make a story and to write a script, and to have real strong character concepts, right? So at this point now, we've done a Greco-Roman drag show, we've done a Shakespeare drag show. We did our last drag show in 2019 was called Hot Mama, Singing Gays, Saving Gaia.
I got to see that. I finally got there.
Oh,
and
good.
It was so much fun, and you were so tall.
Yes, we take the opportunity to dress up and invite the audience to dress up too. But yeah, so we've been brainstorming about future drag show themes, and Messy Messiah was one we've been wanting to do for a while. And this felt like the perfect season, where we've been away from each other and we want to celebrate community and joy and tradition and these beloved holiday tunes, not only by Handel, but by Vivaldi and Barber and Strauss. We'll be, celebrating other composers as well. And folks can expect, about an hour-long show. We have 4 amazing singers. We have a ballet dancer on point who will be doing some Tchaikovsky. And we have a fabulous band of 7 players. This is our largest drag show band that we've had. The costumes will be eye-popping. We have a runway that slices down the middle of Roulette, and we have cabaret tables surrounding the runway so people can be up close. it's going to be a real party.
Well, you've answered what one of the next question was why you moved from Halloween to now. And it is exciting that you now get to have fun with these holidays. Absolutely. And honestly, some of them really deserve a lot of fun taken out of them because they can get a little too serious. So, I mean, you've got the Messing Messiah. Is there any Hanukkah sing in there?
It's not. I
No.
tried a number of things, and it didn't manage to make its way in, and that's definitely on me because it was on me to find that stuff for sure. But I didn't grow up with a ton of Hanukkah songs and a lot. I mean, I grew up with the prayers, but not really a lot of particular festivity around it, and so I think one of the things we're bringing into this show is not just Christmas, but traditions generally, and the idea of so many of these holiday traditions that are music bound and song bound, and trying to just really make a festive, joyful, beautiful version of that is new and different and speaks to us in the ways that we want to hear. And I tried on a few Hanukkah songs, but they didn't make it into the end.
Please tell me though that you might be setting up some of the big pop titles, the ones that are just incessant. I won't name them, but well, okay. Was that the Beyonce one? Is it, or is it?
There's certainly a Mariah Carey one.
Pardon?
Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
We started our brainstorming early on with a full catalog list of every good and horrible pop song and the whole spectrum, and so some of them might make it in.
And we'll definitely encourage audience sing-along at a couple of key moments.
Okay. So as opposed to most drag extravaganzas, this is all live singing generally, right? I know that in Gaia there was I think one lip sync, but everything is live performed.
You never know. We're about to start rehearsal. And you never know what will happen these next couple of weeks. We love lip syncing. We love the art of lip syncing. And so it has featured prominently in past drag shows. It may show up this year. And one thing I forgot to say was we have a super special guest star coming on December 16th. We cannot tell you their name. But they will be singing several songs for our benefit performance. Some of the tickets that night are a little more expensive if you want to support us. And there's this really special guest coming. We're so excited.
Well, great. That sounds so much fun. I know actually in terms of drag stars lip syncing, we're all used to the RuPaul's show, and there are others like We're Here, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
But apparently there is a new show that is just starting called Queen of the Universe or something, I think. And they're going to be singing live, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's because there are so many of them who actually do. I mean, we're not used to that so much, or many people aren't. I have, because there's certain people I follow, like Coco Peru, or who was the opera singer?
Is that Shaniqua?
I think Shaniqua, yes, possibly. And
the Juilliard trained opera singer.
Yes. So it's a little less frequent from we know, but in the modern day, we have a lot of them, even ones on RuPaul, who actually really sing and are triple threat performers.
Absolutely, yeah. One of our drag show's claims to fame is that Sasha Velour attended our second drag show before she went on RuPaul and won. And we love her and admire her so much.
And you have, at least I know, one returning regular, John Taylor Ward.
Taylor has been in each of our drag shows. I remember one year that we thought we could live without him for a moment, and he wasn't available really, and then found out he could make it for one rehearsal and the show at the end, and we just threw together a costume and had to have him. So he's been a real force in every one of these shows, and we love working with him. I've worked with him for a very long time, ever since he works with Cantata Profana, my other ensemble. And he and I got started back in school when he did 8 Songs for a Mad King, Peter Maxwell Davies piece with me. And that was our first New York show. And that was my first collaboration with him. And we sort of just fell in.
Well, he is truly a phenomenal operatic bass baritone. I know I saw him in your production of Don Giovanni, and that was stunning work. And Don Giovanni, unlike anything I've seen, which made me happy because I've gotten a little more than tired of Don Giovanni and the story and where it goes. And now, I mean, nowadays it just, we have to look at, and this is what Heartbeat has done all along, really take a strong, hard look at the traditional canon and what is the story there? What is, how can we illuminate what is? And actually, I mean, Heartbeat is going further with that. In the past 2 seasons, you've had a further shift as Black Lives Matters and the Me Too generation and all of that started happening. Plus, that includes major changes in your main staff.
Yeah, absolutely. So back in June of, I guess, 2020, Louisa let me know that she got this amazing job offer to go to Germany and become the Associate Artistic Director of Opera Halle, which is in Handel's hometown. And we had a whole year to prepare for her departure. So she left in around August. And we brought on board our beloved collaborator, Darrell Akon, bass baritone, who Heartbeat audiences have seen in Der Freischütz and Fidelio, and now Breathing Free, our opera film. And Darrell is our new Associate Artistic Director. He's part-time with us, and he's part-time with Long Beach Opera, and is actually creating a project that is a co-production between our 2 companies called Quando, which premieres in New York in April. So those 2 staffing changes are certainly a big, we also have our first full-time staff. For the first 7 years of Heartbeat's existence, we did not technically have full-time staff. And now we have a managing director and an associate producer who are full-time. So that has been really great. In terms of the, social cultural changes and reckonings that our country and the world has been going through, we certainly have been looking at our work and our art making and administration and asking really deep, important questions about how we can be a force of love and justice in the world, and how the work we produce, can be equitable and inclusive. And so, yeah, I mean, the work we did during the pandemic, strove for that. Breathing Free was a 45-minute visual album about Black artistry, and it featured excerpts from our Black Lives Matter version of Fidelio alongside songs by Black composers and lyricists. So that was a really important work for us. We learned so much about it and about this work, and we're bringing Fidelio back. Our 2018 production is coming to the Met Museum in February and then touring to 3 venues in California and Arizona.
Yes, I'm really excited about that. I saw it, and I also I watched the Breathing Free, which was really moving. And Fidelio, honestly, that was my first experience with Fidelio. I have not seen a major opera company do it. I don't know if I want to. Oh, actually, sorry, no, I must correct myself. I've seen the earlier version of Fidelio, called Leonore. Opera Lafayette produced that in New York and in DC. And that was fascinating.
I was in the orchestra for that.
Yes. But what you did with Fidelio was stunning, especially the inclusion of the prison choruses, which I know took a lot of work to get done. And were you able to expand on that for this continuing version?
It's a slightly heart aching story, because we had lined up amazing funding from Columbia University's Holder Initiative for Civil and Political Rights to go back to our prison choir colleagues in the Midwest in March of 2020. And then the pandemic really hit, and we had to postpone that trip. And we have not been allowed to re-enter the prisons yet. So most of the correctional facilities are not open to visitors, and the choirs are not back yet. There have been virtual rehearsals, and we were able to Zoom in to one choir rehearsal in Ohio, which was really cool. But I'm happy and grateful to say that we are in touch with all the prison choir conductors. We're working with 6 choirs. And they are so passionate about this work, so happy that it's moving forward. And actually, we have some collaborators who are now out of prison who hopefully will be able to join us and see the show in person for the first time. So that's really exciting.
We all felt that whole, for us, it was a hard time dealing with having to be separate from so many people and all of that. But just to imagine the next state that they're already incarcerated, and then there's any or most of the contact they had with the outside world are just taken away further is just, that's really upsetting and unfortunate, and it's what happened, but it needs to be understood what that can do to their spirit. So I mean, at least they had, it sounds like, even virtual, at least they were able to keep going in some way.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, it did depend on the facility and the warden's feelings. And some facilities had it better than others. But I think, for me, just the idea of breathing free, which is a lyric that we lifted from Beethoven's Prisoner's Chorus, just resonates completely differently now because of the pandemic and because of the health crisis that our incarcerated collaborators had to live through, which was even more dire in prison than outside.
It is good to hear that the work is continuing on your side. Hopefully things will continue to open up and get a lot brighter for everyone. We have the Messy Messiah, we have Fidelio, and you mentioned Quando. Can you give us any thoughts about what else is in the wind after that, maybe?
Sure. I mean, one of the things is that this past May, we went upstate to PS21 and we workshopped a new opera called The Extinctionist by Daniel Schlossberg, our micro music director, and libretto by Amanda Quaid. And Louisa was directing that, and I was music directing it. And we got to go out into the woods for 2 weeks and workshop this piece. The full premiere in New York is hopefully going to be happening in the next season. Louisa will be coming back from Germany to do that show, and that's a big item on our next season. And otherwise, I think, what Heartbeat often is doing is trying to be fleet enough to respond to what's happening, to respond to the moment, to sort of see what conversations are going around. And so we're looking around right now, figuring out what next year is going to be. I know some Sondheim was on our short list, and he died three days ago. And so I'm thinking about that a lot. It's nice actually to be in this position right now, to be able to still be kind of dreaming and scheming for next year. But
right. I mean,
a lot of good projects that we can really dig into.
I mean, I could see you, Heartbeat, really doing something with passion.
I happen to know that, Stan, my co-music director.
Yeah, I mean, it seems made for your style and for the deep way you go into pieces. I would say Anyone Can Whistle, but we're getting another concert version of that. There's not much you can do, because in anything to do would really need to revise that show, and that's not going to happen because all the main collaborators are gone. But passion would be. Yes.
I can say a little bit more also about Quando, just to tease that.
Yes.
So it is a 25 minute opera film. So it is our second opera film. We've recorded the soundtrack already, and we'll be filming it in LA in January for this April premiere. It is a short story. It is a narrative, and I'll just say that Darrell would be able to speak more eloquently, but it is about performative activism and the thrill, the adrenaline rush that can come from protesting a cause, but how that can also become potentially problematic. It incorporates music from La Traviata and Orfeo, and just the soundtrack is already sounding so gorgeous. And we'll be screening the film at the McKittrick Hotel, which is where Sleep No More usually performs. It's a really cool cabaret space. And after we screen the film, we'll actually show the film again, but with a live musical performance that Darrell talks about as an interruption of what we heard the first time. We'll have two fabulous performers in person rescoring the film in a live way. So it's an experiment, and we're really excited.
That really does sound exciting. But for now, we've got the Messy Messiah coming up for some great humor and joy of the season. And I thank you both for talking to me about that and the other work that Hearbeat is doing. So in closing, I want to wish everyone a joyous holiday season. And remember to check out Indie Opera Podcast full episodes at www.indieopera.com. And if you can support us, please check out our Patreon account. Thank you both for being here, and happy holidays.